Hello, welcome to the Pursuit of Excellence with me, Anthony Beirudi. Need your help real quick. If you like the videos, hit the thumbs up button right below, and please subscribe to get access to our latest interviews. Hit the subscribe button right there. Also, we'd love to hear from you about our interviews. In the comment section, tell us who you want us to interview or what you thought about the whole thing. Without further ado, enjoy the interview. Very excited today to be joined by Okanagan College head coach and founder Dino Gini. Thank you very much for joining us, Coach.
Hey, it's a pleasure.
So obviously you're now coaching in the college ranks in BC, in the BCCA. But before that, you started in high school. But before that, you were a player. So obviously, let's go back to the very beginning. Where'd you grow up, and what was your playing career like?
Yeah, I played high school. Grew up in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and back then it was called Port Arthur Fort William. But played high school ball there. That's probably where the foundation. I was trying to go back and think, why did I get into coaching, or where did that all come from? But my high school coaches were great. They were all the same. They were always in place. Like the senior boys coach was the senior boys coach, the junior boys coach. So you grew up in a system. You knew what you were getting, and they were there forever. Anyway, played high school ball there. Got recruited from Brandon at that time initially, and then Mount Royal College. But what I ended up doing is I went to Mount Royal College first, played for the late Jack Kenyon, fantastic coach. And then Brandon picked me up from Mount Royal, and then I went to Brandon. And my first year at Brandon, I actually went to our team went to the national finals, and we played U of Vic. And that's where I met Eli Pasquale, and that was Eli Pasquale's first year, and basically the first year of U of Vic before they went on their run. And we lost in the final to U of Vic, and then kind of stayed there for a couple of years, and I finished actually back in Mount Royal College with Jack Kenyon.
Yeah. And what was Jack Kenyon like for you, and what was your early coaching like? Who were the people that you kind of looked up to?
Yeah, Jack Kenyon and Jerry Hemmings. I mean, I think back then as a young guy, I don't know how much me anyway, I don't know how much you appreciate what you have at that time, but after going through it and as time passes, you just appreciate what they brought. Jerry Hemmings was an incredible practice coach. Like he was very good. Jack Kenyon, same thing, fundamentals, was a junior national coach back then. Great friends with Ken Shields. That's how I got to know who Ken Shields was back then. And so two great coaches, spent a lot of time on fundamentals, even at the college and university level. Spent a lot of time on I think they're ahead of their time as far as training and getting in shape, and actually the mental part of the game too. They meditation, and they were just two great coaches that I really enjoyed to play with, and made me better. And actually now I look back and makes me a better coach.
You know, it's funny. I'm actually interviewing Jerry Hemmings later today. Danny,
are you?
Great. Yeah, one of the guys who I work with, a good friend of mine, Danny Charlie, told me that he'd be the best person that I interviewed the entire year. He said, "You could interview 1,000 people. This is the guy you want to talk to."
He was a great recruiter. I think he even came to my athletic banquet and handed out the awards in Thunder Bay, Ontario. Like he was a great recruiter. We come back from a road trip and there'd be another recruit in the gym. Like he was very good. He was good, and he still stays in touch. Actually, I think he stopped in town about 3 or 4 years ago, and we just kind of reminisced. And he's really reaching out to players that he coached and trying to make that connection. He was awesome.
Yeah, and you see guys like that, and they got a charisma to him. Just talking to him, we did a little pre-call yesterday, and he's got a charisma to him. I'm excited for it should be a good one. So you end up playing. You finish at Mount Royal. What happens now?
Mount Royal went back home to Ontario. I don't know. These names are probably not gonna hit home with you, but John Zanata, who was coaching back then, Lakehead University. So I stepped into there and started just hanging out with them, practicing, and I ended up being an assistant coach at Lakehead with John Zanata, and his brother. So unfortunately, the sad story of this, John Zanata got killed in a car accident, and Dave Zanata, his brother, who's probably one of the most talented guards it is one of the most talented guards, him and Eli, that I've played with. I trained with Dave Zanata all summer. He was a walk-on. This was without the three-point line back then. So, and actually Jerry Hemmings will bring up Dave Zanata because we had great games against him. So Dave was a walk-on to the Detroit Pistons camp way back then. Made it to the final cut. I think the Detroit Pistons at 5'10". So, and unfortunately he passed away. So the sad story of that, two brothers, only kids in the family, both incredible teachers, incredible talent, and both passed away. But those are two of my, I was just writing down a list of 4 players that I continue to look upon to look for help when I'm, trying to pray for help. And that is, Eli, Dave, Zanata, John Zanata, and Guy Vitri, who I spent time with too and got to learn. And he was a fantastic coach and teacher too.
I heard lots about Guy Vitri, but I don't really know him. So can you give us a little bit about what made Guy Vitri special and a little bit about how he impacted you?
I think Guy Vitri, like the great coaches, he was when he spoke and he taught a drill, and when he did it with passion, he did it really crisp, really easy to learn, easy to understand. He motivated. I think it's part of the thing you just said is his charisma, but he was a great teacher. I went to team camps with him when he was up in Vernon, and I could listen to him all day. Those coaches, you go to clinics, they say, I can listen to this guy all day. Like Scott Morris and we just had on our Zoom meeting with our team. I can listen. You could put Scott on from 9 in the morning till 9 at night. I wouldn't leave the screen, and I'd listen to everything he said.
Yeah, I mean, some guys definitely have that. It's cool having a Canadian guy that moving up the NBA ranks like Scott. I mean, that's something that's very impressive, and obviously his skill set has translated to the next level. So that's cool to see. Now, when do you get into coaching yourself?
At Lakehead, that's where So back in high school, there was a teacher strike. I was in grade 12, and I was asked to coach the grade 8s, and that's kind of actually where I got kind of hooked. I think back then I probably did 3-man weave for an hour and a half, but that's all I knew back then.
So the teachers have been striking for that long, eh? They're still not happy.
So anyway, it was good. I got into it, then I got into, after, like I said, after came back home to Ontario, hung out with John, and then be assistant coach with him, with some great players too. And then the biggest neat experience with John is that we were playing in a pretty important game, and I don't remember who it was against, but I was nervous. I was right beside him as an assistant coach, and so he purposely gets kicked out of the game, leaves me with the team, and probably the most nervous I've ever been in my entire life. Timeouts, I didn't even know. Like the players were actually bugging me. They're like, "Coach, what do you got to say?" Anyway, he left me in a spot, but as time went on, it was a whole half of a game that I got to coach, and sort of those little things like that guys do to you and feed you are just things that just keep growing your passion to coach, right? So that was just another thing that Jerry Hemmings, Jack Kenyon, Johnson, all those guys, just I think I take pieces of all that and try to still be myself. And then use what they gave me to try to teach, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so when do you end up going to Kelowna? How's that happen? What brings you out?
My wife's, I was a squash player, so I was playing squash with this guy, and then I went in the steam room and said, "Hey, you got to check out Kelowna." And my wife had all these points, and let's go to Kelowna. So we flew to Vancouver, came to Kelowna, drove to Kelowna on a long weekend, couldn't get a place to stay, ended up camping outside of a trailer home. Ended up getting a job right away it was called the Corplex Fitness Center in Kelowna. I didn't even go back home. And ended up running this Corplex Fitness Center when squash and racquetball was really big. So I taught squash, had a little bar, ran this place, and got to know a lot of people in a really quick, short time because it was a busy place, right?
And you just said, "I'm not going home. I'm just
not going home." My wife went back. We sold the house. She came up here with her mom, made the move with no kids, of course, at that time. So it was good. It was a great move. Fell in love with Kelowna when we drove over the bridge, and we just said, "Hey, this is just too good," and got lucky and got this job, which was perfect because it made me not that I was thinking it, but I got to meet. Squash tournaments back then were 100 people. Racquetball tournaments 150. So like it was a big, popular facility. So I got to meet a lot of people in Kelowna, the business, all the people. Not that I knew that I was networking, but naturally I was with them, having fun and teaching squash and running the bar and everything. But so did all that, and as I continued to do that, make a long story short, my dad had a heart attack. We went back for like 6 months, and then came back here and got my real estate license. Oh no, started selling mobile homes first, then got my real estate license, and then got my license in 1991.
Mobile homes right now, if you were selling mobile homes, you'd be making a lot of money right now. It'd be a good business to be in. But I guess real estate's pretty good too.
Yeah, real estate's pretty good.
So you get your license in 91, you start going, you're getting ingrained in the community.
Yeah.
You have a kid just before that, correct? When did you start having kids?
Yeah, right away. Right away. All of a sudden, we tried back in Ontario, Northern Ontario, but I guess the air wasn't good, so it became the BC, and 4 kids popped up, right? So it was good. So
that's good. So you get involved with them in sport, and so you guys start building the program up at Immaculata.
Well, first I got involved with Coach Doug Sperling, who's kind of my right-hand man with me, that helped me, who I went to help me with starting the college program. And then I went to his school first. He called me in, come help me out at KLO. He was at KLO. Anyway, this school. And I went there, and then eventually, got to Immaculata. Went in there with no program, and I was going down the hallway chasing kids, trying to get kids to play, right, to form a program.
Well, the thing about Kelowna is obviously you have by far the biggest school in the province at Kelowna Secondary. It's like 30% bigger than the second biggest school in the province.
KSS is, right?
Yeah, and so you're going to a single A school. It's very small, and you're trying to compete with these guys. I'm imagining when you got started, it was not quite an easy task.
It wasn't pretty, no. No, I didn't sleep very well. Just like
Tell me a little bit about the originator. Like when you get going, it's tough. You guys are trying to get kids to play. What was building the program like? How did you get going with that?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, it was I think what happened is just like yourself, you continue to get kids, get them out, show the love, give passion, build relationships. Even back then, right? I didn't, and continue to show that this is kind of fun and get going, and then slowly build and slowly get people together and then build a program where my goal was really to say, I didn't want kids leaving the school to go to another school. That was my goal. I didn't care about kids, recruiting kids or getting kids from big schools. I just want the kids I want to keep them, and I don't want them thinking about leaving. And eventually that happened. We built a great program. In fact, if you were going to ask me, I just checked it anyway. I didn't even know. I'm not a big guy on keeping track of when you won a certain time or whatever, but we, together we won 8 provincials, and the latter part we went double A in the last ones that we won. And Andrew took over as the head coach, and I continued to be with the team, and that's kind of Andrew got into seriously into coaching.
He obviously coached the girls team when you were there. You were coaching the guys team at the end there.
Yeah.
At the beginning, you were coaching both.
We won both at the same time that one year, 2013. We won the first ever boys provincials, and I was coaching the senior girls at the same time we won the senior girls provincials. But
that was a good week, we call that.
That was a good week. 2 banners, pictures with the banners. It was good.
So you guys get the program rolling. And what do you think kind of got it? Like, there's a lot of people that try to get programs going, and it falters. Obviously, it takes a lot of time. You gotta get the kids excited to play basketball.
Honestly, I did what you're doing. I kept putting a carrot in front of them. I would do team camps. I'd take them to San Diego, Hawaii. We would do special trips. Just continue to build on it as we went. And honestly, just just showing the passion and energy and love. Like they just got excited with it, right? And then I was having 15, 17 girls on a team. I was keeping the younger kids on the bench just to get excited and watch the seniors play, right? So it was just, it's just built because of, and you have the same thing, the passion and the love, and I still use that. I don't think I can do anything without building relationships. Like everybody says, well, what's your key? Well, I could lose, maybe I could be weak maybe on some certain X and O's. I'm not, I think I take everything pretty, I continue to learn like you do. But you know, at my age right now, it's really, if I can get guys to go through the wall for me, build a relationship, show the discipline and hardness or the work ethic, but still have that relationship with them where they can call me. I'm talking college or high school. Call me if you're in trouble. Call me at 4 a.m. Call me 3 a.m. You're having troubles, call me. I don't care. It doesn't really matter. I got your back, right? So it's kind of all the things we all say, but I actually did it. I bailed kids out. I got kids out of trouble. There's kids that didn't have great situations sometimes, and my guys get in trouble. You know, not in trouble, but you know, that not everybody has the perfect family life at times. You know, so you try to help them out and and basketball or sport is their only go-to. So that you don't show the love there, man, they're in trouble. So you got to kind of like, who do you yell at? Like, you know, there was a question I was thinking of it. Scott Morrison said, and I watched him coach. I was at Lakehead when Andrew was there, and I went to the practices, and he was incredibly intense, over the top coach. Like he even in our Zoom, he says, you know, I should have been, you know, I could have been fired 3 or 4 times, but they just kept me on. And then he obviously got success. And then he went to Brad Stevens and then the Celtics. And, you know, I think obviously the position he is now, which is close to the lead assistant, but obviously he's changed his demeanor and learned off Brad, and probably had to change that demeanor to be, you know, to be involved. It was just great his journey is incredible. Like I'm changing the subjects all here, but his journey is just another coaching thing that you and I get pumped on listening to, because his journey is hard work. And he was doing towels and cleaning the bathrooms and doing all that crap. And then all of a sudden, and then he said, I just want to train some guys. Like, let me train some guys. And that's how he got into the G League or D League. And he got an assistant coach somewhere, and he trained, and this Scott Morrison name kept coming up. So then he went to Boston. Brad Stevens kept, who in the hell is this Scott Morrison? Like, his name kept coming up. And then he just kept moving up the ladder. And so I appreciate that story, because it's just a cool story.
Yeah, for sure. So you end up getting the program in Immaculata going. You guys are pretty good. What was it like the first time you beat Kelowna secondary? That had to have been a good day for you guys. Do you remember it?
Yep. Yeah. We beat I don't remember the year, but we beat them twice, because they would not. Again, pretty normal, like a quad or triple A team at that time, I guess. It's always not a great situation for a triple A team to play a single A team just for the hell of it. So I would strategically try to go into a tournament and get into a draw with them in it. And we played them twice. We beat them twice in 2 tournaments. And that was big for us, big for a little school, right? Huge for a little school, because they're the team, and they are still the team. But it was fun. And whether or not, I don't even remember who in the heck was on KSS. It really didn't matter. Those are 2 big wins for our program.
Yeah, for sure. And so you win a bunch of championships at Immaculata. You get your son going with it. That's got to be cool to see him win. And then, you know, you guys had a very talented group of kids the last couple of years you were coaching there. And you know, give me the process of how you thought of the idea of creating Okanagan College Basketball, what it was like to get started. Like how did you even come up with that idea, and what was the rationale to get going with it?
Yeah, I think I did. I had my taste in university to coach. I did the high school thing, and I had a pretty successful, obviously, run. Andrew was into it, coaching. I was getting upset of all the kids that were coming back to Kelowna with not great. You know, some had great experience, some didn't have experience. There just weren't enough opportunities out there for some of these kids locally to actually find a place to play. That was one thing. The other thing, I was motivated that I thought it was time to because of the college growing and we're kind of the hotbed of basketball. And I just thought it was an opportunity to go to the college and at least ask them, what are your thoughts? And obviously their thoughts were, well, we don't have funding. It's not a priority right now. And I said, well, I said, I still like to do it. I met with the president, and he said, well, you're going to do it. You're going to have to form it on your own. So we did. It took a year to form an agreement between us and Okanagan College to run the program. And that's kind of how it started. And then I had to convince, it was surprising. They were very surprised at how quickly we developed and how, professionally we did it. Because I think they just had this thing that maybe it was going to be like a men's league thing or club thing, and they would just get some kids involved, and great. But we actually pushed hard. And the biggest thing was convincing Pacwest of how we were built through a society, but still under Okanagan College, to accept us in Pacwest. Like how are you going to, what if something goes wrong? Just the whole thing of making sure you're going to be able to sustain this. So then we got into Pacwest, then we were real, and then we got into it, and now we're into building our program, and we have lots of interest and we're excited.
Well, you were telling me Okanagan College is the fastest growing community college in the country. What brings that to the forefront? Like, why has it grown so quickly, and what are they doing over there that's special?
Well, they added that. I think one of the components. Well, their business program is probably one of the top ranked programs in the country, in Canada. They also they spent a lot of money in bringing in the trades area, the trade center that they built, and they just continue to grow. I don't know if they thought they were going to grow that largely when I was at UBCO, prior to them kind of handing over all the CIS, the sports program, to OUC at that time. And then just thinking maybe they were thinking they're going to be just a satellite college. And I mean, they owned all that land behind KSS. We would have had all that land behind KSS to grow and continue to build. So now we have no choice but to build up. So I think what they did is the program just continued to develop, and I've fallen in love with the college and how they teach, and their smaller classes, even though they're growing. I think the next step is now, because of the growth, is hopefully this, hopefully down a wellness center with the gym and more residents on campus. And because once you get residents on campus, you got people staying there wanting, and then the wellness centers make sense. And then people come then you have fans and students and support on campus, right? A lot of people are in and out right now, right, on campus.
Well, it's cool to be part of something that's growing as exponentially fast as possible. But let's go back to the first year. So you guys finally get your team going. You got to recruit some players. What was it like trying to sell? Who was your first recruit that you got to sign?
My local, like Jeff Tubbs, Jeff Tubbs. Yeah, I'd say Jeff Tubbs was one of my first or group of first that week or that day. And Jeff, and ended up, he was our captain, so I kind of went after the leadership. He was a captain down at Thompson Rivers. So that started with Jeff and a core. There was probably 4 or 5 of them locally that I went after, and they're still here. And now we're building around them and bringing talent around. So they helped create the program. They help learn what it takes to run a program, which is really, I mean, here I am trying to recruit kids, sell them on the program, sell them on what we want to do, sell them that we're going to win a championship at some point. And then no gym. Oh yeah, by the way, you have to go get $1,500 worth of sponsorships. And we don't really have a gym, but we do have a practice facility. But we play out of a high school. So, or actually the school we play out of right now is an elementary school, which is as a high school gym.
Yeah. And
there were some tough angles, right? So I had to take care of them when they came here. Like, they had to feel, and that's where I really had to feel like they walk into our gym at training camp. There's food in the team room. We built a team room with the help of Okanagan College Trades. We created an atmosphere, a culture that's really good, that you can, that feels good to be part of this program, right? And then we started to win a little bit, which obviously helped. So I And then I had to learn to be even a better recruiter. I think that's the biggest learning curve I had is, I'm gonna recruit Anthony Baruti, but you know what? I'm now not just talking to your coach or even your parents. Now I got to go talk to maybe your uncle, the team coaches you played against, some club coaches, and because the recruiting is so huge, especially when I'm trying to get 2 international players and make sure my investment to these kids is legit, right? And that they're here for the right reasons. So anyway, I'm kind of sputtering all over the place, but it's definitely hard. It's still hard. I've got a big team this year and recruited really heavy. I've got an awesome team. I don't know how that's going to look like this year with COVID, but regardless, my plan is plan A, we start in January, like tentatively it's slated. Plan B, the worst plan is that there's no season, but I got to keep these guys engaged, and I'm getting them all here. I'm got to make them feel special. We got to do stuff to get them engaged. So we bought. We're trying to take practice to another level. We're gonna use practice like a game. So we're gonna use Synergy. We got stuff out of Synergy where you can actually do stats out of Synergy. And I've got 2 young guys on my team that analytically we're gonna make practice a little bit more special because we're locking the games till at least January, or maybe we don't even play, right?
Yeah, it's a unique situation for sure. But I mean, I think it's gonna in the long run, it'll create an opportunity for people who really want to get after it to really excel, just like most things. But listen, so you came from Ontario, you came to Kelowna, you got the program in high school going, you got the college going. If you go back in time and give younger Dino a little advice, what would you tell the guy?
Give me advice?
Yeah.
I think I just take what I've learned as a coach now to then. I mean, I'm a pretty I think I just take a little bit edge off of how my passion, how I coach, the intensity I had as a coach during the game. I think I changed my game which I have now, changed the way I coach in a game. But I think I've never changed my relationship part with kids. So like you get their experience, right? To have all those kids you've coached, and now wait till you get my age, all the kids you've coached, and then come back where they really enjoyed that experience. You're going to their weddings. They've enjoyed what you brought them through. It's changed their life. It's changed the way that some of them are coaching. Like, you know what I mean? Like some of them are giving back too, right? So I think the thing I would change a little bit, I think I changed the way I handle myself during games. I think I turn it down a notch just during games, not necessarily on getting on the players, just maybe holding it back a little bit on how intense I was with other coaches, how intense I was with the referees. I think I pull back a little bit, and which kind of makes sense. I mean, why not use how I've been brought up in sales and relationships to just flirt with the referees and make that.
Well, I think part of it is you got a chip on your shoulder, right? Because you coach in a small single A school, you're trying to fight for relevance, and then
you get no love back then, like
right.
Yeah.
And so you gotta fight for it. So you gotta have an edge. If you don't have an edge, you got nothing. And then on top of it, people that maybe around you are winning by accident. They don't even have that good of a plan, but they got all the talent. So you got to deal with that. And then you get to the college, you don't have any players, you have no money, you got to figure it out. So I mean, listen, it's a natural chip on your shoulder to get going with that stuff. But listen, sorry, go ahead.
No, I think that and one of the things before I think the biggest thing, and which you're going to experience now because you have a new bambino, your first son, is that all of my kids, I was feeling bad that Andrew, I never got to coach Andrew really, because John Campbell coached them and I wasn't at the senior boys, and he wasn't letting go of that, which is fine. But I got to coach Dario and Michael, Laura, and Michael won a provincial title. Laura was involved with 3. She was an MVP. Dario got the coach. We kind of got ripped off when provincials. We lost in the semis. Crazy game. So got to coach him, and then they all got experience that to be in BC Catholics, winning the BC or be involved in BC
Let's
Catholics?
talk about the BC Catholics. I think it's the most underrated tournament in the entire province, and I think they do a phenomenal job putting on a spectacular event and an equally bad job telling people outside of the community about it. I think like they've created the most special event in the province, and
Awesome.
the atmosphere is unparalleled, the experience is unparalleled, and talk about going in there. Your first couple of years, I would imagine, didn't go very well, but then you ended up starting to win those things. What was that like?
Yeah, that was that. You're right. BC Catholics to try to tell the kids, you guys are the experience of walking in there and the gym being packed almost for every game, like almost every game. But then you start winning and getting in front of. My goal is to get in front of this whole darn school and play Holy Cross. I mean that, and and we did that obviously because I think we won 5 BC Catholics and we won 3 in a row with that, Emma Johnson and Ashlyn Day and that whole crew. But to get even the guys teams and get in front of that kind of crowd and then get to the semis and play Little Flower and then knock them off and then get to the Holy Cross game. I mean, you cannot create that atmosphere anywhere else.
No. And then the other thing is you got to beat Holy Cross by 15 to win by 1, right? Like, so you got to beat them, you got to legit be better. You're not beating them by accident.
And throw in, because you were there, obviously and then throw in the 8-minute quarters, which now your runs for and against are so crucial, and it changes the way you had to coach and sub. And anyway, you're right. That just a great experience to be there.
Well, the funny thing is, when I was coaching at STA, we did a lot of really big time things, and people somebody's like, oh, you must regret not winning the provincials or whatever. It's like, honestly, it would have been great, but the biggest regret I have is we never won the Catholics. Like, I really wanted to win one of those.
Yeah,
the kids would have really enjoyed the experience. It would have totally changed the perspective. But when we had our group go in there, it was like the strongest group in the history of Catholic schools in the province. There was like 5 teams that were legitimately top level teams. So, sometimes you get a little run. Right now, Holy Cross guys are one of the best teams in the province. Vancouver College is going to be one of the best teams in the province. You got St. Thomas More. Aaron does a great job. So there's always a lot of talent going through that place. So it's fun. But anyway, listen, thank you so much for joining us today. Seeing what you guys have built at Okanagan College has been inspirational. I think you got one of the best logos in the business. I think your team's coming along. Now you got, a lot of players that want to go to school, and you've kind of created a culture there with your son Andrew at the school, and it's exciting to see the growth. You guys are constantly growing, and I can't wait to see it continue. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Anthony, thank you for your support and what you do too. And anyway, thank you very much. Talk to you soon.